Hello. Welcome to episode 4 of
Woo!
The Couch Diary.
Yes.
It's me, Sophia, and
Gaby.
on the couch, spilling the beans,
All the beans.
the tea,
the trauma.
the tea, the trauma, the beans, the BTT,
The hot goss.
the hot goss. Speaking of hot goss,
Oh, Sophia's starting hot today.
I got a hot take.
a hot take. Our first hot take.
Our first hot take. Because this has really
Spill it.
been bothering me. It's happened to me a lot the last two. First of all, let's be real. It happens to me a lot, but it's been happening a lot recently where I'm getting no credit where credit is due. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'm funny. I think I can be funny. I find cute
Hilarious.
memes, girly memes, cute
Yeah.
memes, funny animals,
the funniest animals.
I'm mainly an animal meme person.
Yeah.
The monkey sipping the Capri Sun is my favorite.
So good.
But so I post a lot on my story. If my story doesn't have anything on it, someone come check on me. Very, very, very rarely does my story not have a little ring on it.
Yeah.
I stay. I mean, it goes back to episode 2 where I said I want to be mysterious, but I can't stop. I can't stop posting stuff. So, anyways, I take pride in what I post, and my Explorer page, has gone through years of building
Curation.
Curation.
Yes.
So I find some fire, funny things. And this past 2 weeks, so many people repost my memes without liking. They don't even like my story.
But they'll take it.
They'll click on it, post it on their story, and just post it out. And not even, and because
You're welcome.
literally you're welcome. And I know, the social media rules about that. If someone posts something or sends me something or tags me, and I'll be like, oh my God, that's so funny, I'm posting it.
Yes.
I'm posting it.
Yeah.
I'll tell them, I'll be like, shout out you.
Yes.
You found this. I'm gonna post this on my story.
stealing this.
Yeah, I'm
Anything.
stealing this. Something.
A heart.
To not even heart, because you know what? Some hater shit. It's kind of some hater shit.
Once again, you're lurking.
Yes. That's the thing. If you like it at least, then I know oh, you thought it was funny and you're going to post it.
Yeah.
You don't even like it, so you're just stealing.
It's plagiarism, actually.
And I just really don't appreciate it. And honestly, I'm going to have to start calling people out. I'm going to have to start reposting it and be like, oh, so you thought it was funny.
Or just respond, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Where'd you find this great one?
Yeah. Because it really I mean, it's been years of curating my these funny memes don't just fall from the sky.
No, they don't.
I have had people be like, Sophia, where do you find these? Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
I think that's a great way to start today's discussion of social media. So, I mean, we've already said it before. We met on TikTok, the TikTok appy. But we each have different ways that we started on social media, and I feel like some people want to know how did we get started? How can they start? So we're here to share all the beans, spill all the beans.
Spill out the beans. Yeah.
Do you want to go first? How did you get started in social media?
I definitely started more recently. I always had a private Instagram page.
That's right, you did.
Yeah. I had Twitter for a little. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have Twitter. I only have Instagram and TikTok and Facebook for Facebook Marketplace. Let's be real. If you're moving or looking for furniture, I highly recommend Facebook Marketplace. But for social medias or posting platforms, it's just Instagram and TikTok now. And obviously I am one of those people who downloaded TikTok during the pandemic.
Okay.
Because I was bored, and that's what everyone was doing. The whipped iced coffees and the dances and stuff. So yeah, my Instagram was always private. So it was never I don't know, anything crazy. And then also during the pandemic is when I downloaded TikTok and started just posting like for fun. And then a couple of my videos went viral. And my first video actually goes back to what we talked about in episode 2 about talking about controversy. My first video that really got crazy views was about Jeff Bezos making money, like being really? The first, when it was first coming in, that like people were profiting off of the pandemic. I made a video about it that went crazy.
Wow.
It was like my first time, like, because you know, like Instagram doesn't really go viral like that either. Not TikTok is different. TikTok is so different. And yeah, people are like, if you're poor, just say so. I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, compared to Jeff Bezos, I'm poor. Like, I think we all are. But yeah, so I guess I just started. I definitely have more fun on TikTok. It's easier for me to post on TikTok.
Yeah,
that's where any type of like brand deals or whatever I get is like because of my following on TikTok. I just started, and doing the podcast, I told Gaby, I'm like, I'm gonna start trying to post more on Instagram, which I kind of have. I've been trying to post. Yeah, thanks. I've been trying to post more on Instagram.
Yeah. The vibes between Instagram and TikTok are so different. And I think that's like on Instagram, everything needs to be perfect and curated, aesthetically pleasing. But on TikTok, you can film
authenticity
right out of bed where you look rough.
And I think people like that more.
Yes. And they engage more. TikTok is more of like community based, whereas Instagram is like, who do you know here?
Oh my God. Instagram is... Yeah, Instagram is like shallow. Yeah. Instagram is like the shallow, fake, like whatever. And TikTok is like community, supportive. Like people like, I think people are more inclined to follow people too and more comment and stuff and whatever. Yeah. And like Instagram, it's so like, it's not. But yeah, and I told like we both went through an era where I got like the Canon Marquee, whatever, like the vlog camera. I had like a vlogging era around when I got like TikTok too during the like a little before the pandemic, and I would like vlog things or whatever. But nothing has stuck like TikTok, and yeah, pretty much that. But you're like an Instagram girl.
Yeah, but actually, I don't think I've ever told you this. I had a YouTube channel all throughout high school where I would make makeup videos. Yeah.
Throughout high school?
Yeah.
That's dedication.
It was. And then I took a break. Oh, I had a really big Tumblr phase. I was like in there coding. I had a really big Tumblr following.
I was bigger on MySpace, not Tumblr.
So I always knew that I was destined for the social media life. Also, my father posts maybe 20 times a day on Facebook. So it's just like in my DNA to want to share.
That's so funny. My dad barely knows how to text.
So during the pandemic, I mean, I always liked posting on Instagram, but it was mostly like for people that just knew me. But during the pandemic, I was like, I'm bored. I want to take pictures. Like, so I got a tripod, and then I started buying from brands like Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, Misguided. And I would take pictures and use all the hashtags. And I feel like that's how I really started to grow. My pictures eventually would make it on the Explore page. And within like a year, I think I quadrupled my Instagram following, which was really nice. But the thing that sucks is it's mostly men. And I don't even post like provocative things. Like for the most part, I keep myself covered. I'm classy, you know, but I guess men just like my face. No, I'm kidding.
No, it is. That's
I want girls to follow me.
That is what's hard. I feel like, because I feel like people have asked us like, how do you get into it? Or like, and you kind of have to know, like, I mean, I feel like luckily too, we talked about this. Like, I just do like lifestyle, I guess, and yours is a little bit more like clothes, makeup, and like food,
beauty, food.
But it's like beauty and like beauty and like fashion.
Yeah,
which like you said, you just kind of started with like fashion, like clothes.
Yeah, and
like I feel like you kind of do. Well, one, you have to be like ready to post. Like you just have to start posting. You know what I mean? Like and we kind of talked about it. Some of my friends were like asking like, how do you guys do it? And it's like you just have to, and not that I'm saying like, oh, you either have it or you don't, but you have to let go of the kind of like, especially with like TikTok, maybe Instagram, it is more curated, but like you have to not, you don't I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. You can't worry what people think. Like, you just have to start posting.
Literally.
Like, you just have to see what works.
Yes. Everyone's going to judge.
Yeah,
it does
regardless.
not matter. But they won't, like, the people closest to you are going to support you. And one thing that I was really scared of once I started gaining a following during the pandemic, I was so terrified of my coworkers finding me. So I went out and found them first and like blocked them.
Yeah.
And then I missed one and she found me on her explore page and I was like, oh my God, they're going to think I don't work during the day, because during the day is like my peak engagement. Stuff, yeah. So come to find out, my coworkers are some of like my biggest supporters. Yeah. And that, like, no one really cares. Everyone makes content these days.
Yes, and I think that, and that's also why I always had like a private page and stuff, because I work with like students.
Oh yeah, you do.
And I actually just had this conversation with a friend of mine, even in relation to the podcast, like how, if I have any like boundaries that I won't cross, of like, you know, just like knowing my students could like watch all this or whatever. And they're in college, so it's different, you know, they're like adults, but you know, and ultimately I think kind of like, no, like I think that's what I really like you just said, everyone's making content now, like it is so normalized. And I really like that about, there are many things I don't like about technology and like our or where we're at in the world, but one thing I do really like is that I do think it's like normalized. Like I am not just this like picture perfect employee who has no life. Like I have a whole life. Like I do things for fun, and like a lot of my students, especially being like a woman and like Latina, like it's empowering for them to know like, oh, like you can go to college, and like I share about how I like bought a condo or like paid off my loan or dating, you know, and they're like, oh, you can still like have fun. Like you don't have to like become this like corporate boring adult.
No.
You know, and like I think that's what I like about like sharing my, like I kind of have embraced it. Once I kind of got past that scared feeling, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm not going to make my Instagram like private, and I'm going to post more on TikTok, and I'm going to like keep growing, because it is so normal now.
It is. And like, I feel like I struggled with this. I wanted everything to be aesthetically pleasing, but that's not like showing your authentic self is what gets people to feel a sense of community with you. It's what makes people want to engage with you. Like, if your life is cookie cutter perfect every day,
the Nara Smith,
people can't relate to that. So it's okay to show you waking up at like 5 a.m. looking busted, going to the gym.
And we both do that. Like Gaby and I both vlog when we have like no makeup sometimes, which I know some people like would never. And like that's, you know, I mean,
this is real. This is me. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be, and you're going to like it.
Because, and like I think it goes, I know Kylie Jenner, I don't know if you've seen, she's like kind of under attack right now.
Really?
Because she was like crying because she was like, people were like making fun of how I looked or something. And she did this interview where she was basically saying, she was talking about the beauty standard, and people are attacking her because they're like, because you the one she created it. Exactly. Hello. And people are saying like, you made this like for years when you denied that you ever had any like surgeries done and stuff. So like people now aren't having sympathy for her, that like, oh, now you know what it feels like to like not feel confident on the internet. But I do think like, I also like taking up space on the internet, being authentic, where someone can look and be like, oh yeah, like I don't like, sometimes I have a super cute fit on at the gym, and sometimes I like don't. Yeah. You know, and sometimes I'm like struggling there and whatever. But, yeah.
And I think the consistency is what
that's what's hard.
That's the hardest part. But I feel like social media has created a space in my life where I kind of had a void, especially after my last relationship. I dove in head first. Nothing else mattered except that man and me. Like, I stopped creating content, and I felt like,
wasn't he like judgmental?
Yeah, he thought I was posting just to get the male attention that he wasn't giving me. LOL.
Also, like, compliments from girls are so much better.
Yes, I post for the girls and the gays and the theys, not men.
I know, definitely not.
But so like,
oh, that one guy's gonna be mad at us.
So anyway, I felt like after my breakup, I missed creating content so much, and there was a void in my life, obviously, from where that man was, and I filled it with creating content, and that made me remember, like, this is community. This is like how I get my creative juices flowing. Like, yes, it can be annoying to want to set up your tripod and get the perfect shot, but
or like, just because the lighting, like sometimes you're like, let me tweak this a little.
Right, but you're doing something that makes you genuinely happy, and like I feel like for both of us, creating content makes us genuinely happy, and sharing whatever we choose to share on the internet, because it's like a creative outlet for us.
No, it really is. And I feel like because someone did ask like us about like balancing all of it, and I do think like there's like ebbs and flows to it. Like sometimes, like you said, with the consistency, like sometimes it is harder. Or I will prioritize more like kind of being present, like like there are like some dinners I like don't film, you know, and like some I do, like I go into it like telling my friend like, hey, like I'm gonna film this like whole thing, I'm gonna be asking you to like take videos, like whatever, you know, like some things like are for sure content things, and then I think there are some things where
it's a
like
balance.
Like I personally don't want it to feel like it's like a job.
Yes.
You know, because then I will start to not like it.
And then I'll start to procrastinate, because when I feel like I have too many deadlines on my plate,
it's like, stressful.
I don't want content to ever feel like a job. And a lot of people that I've come across through social media, like makeup artists, hair artists, like photographers, they'll say, oh, do you do this full time? No. And I would love to get to that point, but I never want to feel like content is a job where then I'll have to say yes to every invite, yes to every brand that reaches out. Like, I like being selective about who I work with and where I go. And I never want it to feel like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, and I think for me too, like I've thought about that as well, because something also I do is like I make content for some businesses,
like a part-time job.
Like I get paid and like pretty well, and it's been now for like a year. So I like, and I'm not like super like vocal about, like all my like friends know, but not like everybody. I don't like post about that a lot.
Yeah.
But so sometimes my own personal page, I'll feel like less, you know, like
inspired.
Inspired. Because for them, I have to. Like I'm on like a monthly retainer to like post certain stuff for them, but then I get paid to do it. And for me, like that is like nice. Like I'm gonna prioritize that. And it's also a balance. Like I feel like conversations have come up with some of my friends, and all from like good places, of like, would I ever want it to be full time? And like for me personally, like no, I've worked so hard like in my career, and I love what I do, and it's very different from content creating. I mean, there's like skills that overlap, but like I love working in higher ed, I love being a social worker, I love teaching classes, I love being a little professor. Like I don't want to stop that, you know what I mean? Like I not, and this is like content creating, I'm not that I'm saying it's not like important, but like I'm really passionate about that part of my career. That like I don't ever want to stop doing that to make content.
Also, content creation, like the longevity of it is not, I mean,
TikTok might get like
it's not guaranteed. Exactly. And you see all of these like OG YouTubers who have now had to start like brands and do all of these other side hustles, because content can't pay all your bills. And if you're in that position, like, that is amazing. Good for you.
I think it's really rare though.
It is rare. And for us, I think we're both passionate. We are both passionate about our careers. My career has taught me so much about content creation, because I work at an advertising agency. So sometimes I do work on influencer campaigns. I see the contracts that we have to send out, and in turn, that helps me. Like we had a brand reach out to our podcast. I knew all of the exact questions to ask.
Guys, when Gaby puts her corporate hat on, I'm scared.
Do not mess with corporate Gaby, because she knows what she's talking about. Oof. And I wouldn't have all of that knowledge if I didn't have a 9-to-5. So
literally, like when that brand reached out to us, I had pulled up the email and I like read it to Gaby, and she was like, let me just reply.
No.
She literally yanked the last, like in a good, like I was like, please, because I don't know. And she's like,
yes.
And I was like,
because like unfortunately a lot of content creators don't know what questions to ask. So I think it is helpful to have that business side of that knowledge of the business side. But back to what you were saying about like balancing life. We both have 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
We are both very driven women who are single right now and love to prioritize time with friends, time with family.
Which is like easy content stuff too.
Yeah.
Like it's easy.
And like gym. I feel like when you lay it all out, it does seem like a lot on our plates. Because it is. And then you have like your part-times.
I know.
Running those like social media pages. You also work at a restaurant. Like it is a lot, but I feel like because we keep ourselves so busy, we're like fulfilled in life.
Yeah, I really am one of those people where, what is it, like idle time is like the devil's playground or whatever. Like if I have too much like blank time, I'm making bad decisions. Or like my mental health will go down
in your head.
Like like I need to be booked and busy, because that's also, ever since I've worked since I was 15 years old.
Same.
My first job, okay, well, let's talk about our first job. My first job, I was a shampoo girl at like a hair salon.
That's so cute.
Like under the table, it was this Italian hair salon. I got paid like cash, and then like the ladies would tip me, and I would like, you know, shampoo their hair, rinse it out, and they would like give me a little. That was my first ever job.
My first job was at Jewel Osco, pushing carts.
That was my mom's first job.
It's a union job. That's good.
Unions are good. Protection, and you get like raises.
But so in episode 2, we talked about where we went to high school. I went to Lane Tech. So if you're familiar with the North Side, I worked at the Jewel on Addison and Elston, where most people from my high school would go. Guys, I got this job I think during the summer. I was pushing carts on a hot ass day one day.
Oh my god, you were pushing carts?
Yes, girl. My mom took a picture of me. She like pulled up to the parking lot and snapped a pic. Anyway, I was pushing carts and I see this Jeep pull up with all of like the juniors and seniors from Lane that I thought were gorgeous. I hid behind a car so that they wouldn't see me. And I thought they were like inside the store. So I'm like, phew, I'm safe. I could push the carts inside. Tell me why I walk inside and they all walk past me, and I'm like,
but see, I really feel like moments like that are like character defining things, because like that kind of happened to me, like different when I was in grad school. I was waitressing on the weekends to like pay for grad school because it's so expensive, and I worked at a local place like in my hometown, and people would come in all the time, and they were all like from my high school, and they were all working already because you know we had already graduated, so they started working, and I look like I'm just a loser waitress. No offense to service industry, but I mean, you know, like it's like, oh dang, you went to Mizzou and now you're just serving tater tots.
No, actually,
and I felt the need to like anytime I would seek them once they saw me. I'd be like, hey, it's me. I'm just like working here part time because I'm in grad school at Loyola. Like I literally would feel, but like I feel like those moments are really character like
building,
because we work really hard. Like Gaby and I both do. Like we balance crazy schedules. Finance, like budget, like we live by ourselves, you know what I mean? Like we're like we travel, we do our hair, our nails, like none of that stuff is cheap, and like you know, I mean, it is a lot to balance. We both work out. I wake up during the week to work. Like when summer is a little bit different, which also goes back to kind of like saying how things like change. Like for summer, I feel like I'm definitely down more to post but then once like the semester starts in August, it will like dip down because then that's when like classes start. So it definitely like changes, but
you still like having that structure in your life.
Like I am a morning workout person. So like, you know, I do that in the morning. And sometimes that means I wake up at like 5:30 because that's like what I know I have to do, you know, then like go to work, and then like dinners in the afternoon, or plan things, or like events like this Tuesday we're going to one. And I think it's cool too. We were kind of like joking about this before, but and maybe Gabby will have more insight into this, but I do feel like the way that like brands reach out and stuff, it's so random.
Very
like
inconsistent.
It's very inconsistent, and I think that's something that anyone who is interested in wanting to start posting, like definitely everyone can be like lifestyle, you know what I mean? You can start with there, and if you want to go into a specific niche, like go for it. But like some like brands that reach out to me, like I'm like, how did you find me? Or you know what I mean? Or like how like I've worked so much with like the Happy Camper, what is it that
like the hospitality group.
And but like and like I'm like, I love that you guys love me, but I'm like, you know, why me? Or like whatever. And like some things it's just so like random.
To that point, I feel like Sophia said, I have a much bigger following on Instagram than TikTok, but I feel like brands are so much more engaged with their consumers on TikTok. Like that's where I get more brands reaching out to me, more like events, and it's really different, but that just goes to show like put your content everywhere.
Put it, and because you never really know what's gonna hit. Like you literally, I mean, and that's the thing too, like being so consistent. Like well, I mean, I know I said I struggle with it, but I never like fully stop, you know, like I never get discouraged enough. I mean, in the algorithm, like dude, that is out of your control. You cannot control it. The algorithm is awful sometimes. Like it literally puts you in jail. Like you're shadow banned.
No, literally,
you're literally in jail. They're like, you get and how I know it's jail how I know that it's jail is because it is personal, because the engagement will do, like, let's say they're keeping me at that 300 view jail, but the video has like, you know, 150 likes. So that means like I'm like the engagement on that video is really good then. So it should keep going, because for every like, what is it, you know, like 10 views you should get 1 like or something. So when it's like 100 views you should have 10 likes. So like, you know, my ratio will be there, comments, people are saving it, and then it just stops at like 500 and I'm like, this is jail. Like, and you can't get discouraged. And all those videos when they give you tips of how to beat that, they're just lying. They're lying.
Have you tried those?
No, I just know they're lying. Because I feel like that's them trying to get views, is like telling you how to do, like, you just have to keep trying. You just like can't give up.
And I think another thing, if you're serious about trying to start content, you have to try different things, and you'll see what your audience really likes. Like for me, I used to model a lot with like makeup artists or like just brands in general. So when I would post really close-up shots of my face, I would notice that those don't do as well as like the full body shots. Again, that goes back to my male audience, which tell your girlfriends to follow me, please. But yeah, you really have to pay attention to what does well and what doesn't. I would say if you're just starting out, use hashtags.
Oh, I use hashtags like
you must.
A mofo.
Yeah, because they're so helpful for brands that want to look for, like, if you're in Chicago and you do Chicago model, Chicago foodie, Chicago blogger, Chicago podcast.
I'll do like Chicago podcast, or I'll get, because I'm a vegetarian, so sometimes, you know, I'll do a lot of like plant-based Chicago vegetarian, and like people be like, oh my god, give more recs on that or whatever. So then I kind of also what has been hard for me, I've had speaking, because it does like I've had some videos that are very like different go viral, and sometimes I feel like my following, people will follow me based off one video, and then like once they're like, oh, like not all your content is like that, then they like unfollow me. I will say that's totally a part of it. Like the ebbs and flows, like people aren't always unfollowing, but then people are always following. But like, and some of my stuff is like really different. Like I've had a lot of like Hello Kitty stuff go super viral, because I like love Hello Kitty. Like one about the Hello Kitty Nikes and Hello Kitty Adidas, I was comparing them, and that video went like super viral. But like not all my content is Hello Kitty content, right? So like, I feel like some people are like, oh, never mind, or something. Like, or you know, just like whatever, that's part of it. And
it's always the videos that you don't try on, like that you don't put any effort in, that do really well.
Yeah, and then ones that you like edit and spend so much time, like voiceovers and fixing, you're like,
like, hello, don't you appreciate my effort here?
Jail. And then it goes in TikTok jail. Yeah, or Instagram jail. Instagram, you guys, I like personally hate Instagram so much.
I have to love it. Just because that's where most of my followers are.
I just like hate it because they're fake.
It is fake.
They're super fake as fuck.
Like, everyone's trying to be the most aesthetically pleasing, have the cutest.
It's haters. Let's call it what it is. It's filled with haters too.
Filled with people that love lurking and not showing love.
I saw ghost followers. Someone called it ghost followers, where it's like they watch everything and they don't ever engage because they're ghost followers.
Like, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Yeah. But to that point, I feel like community is so important, and this is something that we talked about in episode 3. Like, finding friends as adults is really hard, but it's so easy through social media.
Yeah, because like we said, like, for every person who like you're not for them, you are for someone. Like, someone also is into that and likes that and whatever.
I've even found like groups on Instagram for things to do in Chicago, and like they will have meetups where you can go meet other like-minded people who might be new to the city or might not have too many friends or just went through a friend breakup. Like, social media can really help fill the void in your life, but don't let it consume you.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of like social media breaks, which is also kind of hard because
very hard
doing like this.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some cool opportunities too. I do want to make note because I feel like I was saying how I feel like it's really opposite from my job. I have done like mental health workshops and stuff like because of people who found me on TikTok. So like I can do and I did like a FAFSA workshop for a nonprofit. So like, you know, like you can do like a lot of stuff. Like, there's always room for people to see you and like interact. Like, always post. Like, don't not post. You really never know who's gonna like see it and we'll be like, oh, like we could, you know, use someone with like that background or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's hard though. Obviously now, like doing the podcast and stuff, and like I can't, you know, deactivate my Instagram for like a month or two. But like I do think taking in ways that you can, like taking breaks is really important.
No, I totally agree. And it's good, like, if you want, I've done this myself, like if you want to still be consistent, post, respond to the comments, but then put it away. Yeah. Like, you don't need to be constantly refreshing your feed and, oh, what is someone else posting? Because I've learned this year that, well, actually in the last like few years, comparison is the thief of joy. Dude, and that's all social media is. Forehead.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
It really is.
It's so real.
Like, back to college, my senior thesis, I did a study on how social media affects women of color and like their perception of themselves and their body image, and it really does impact how you view yourself. 100%. But you have to remind yourself, like, the internet is not real life.
Oh, that is so real. And it's hard because like I want to be positive right now, but also I'm thinking of some hater things.
Be a hater.
But like I do just think like I've met some people in the last like year or so where, let's just say, like once I meet them in person,
say it.
I don't even know. Like, I will just say after meeting them in person, I'm like, you know what? I'm really confident and happy with who I am because I'm a genuine person.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever try to make people feel. I definitely don't. I am the first to say, like, I don't have some crazy big following at all, but like I do know. Also, too, I will say this, like, what I feel like has been kind of hard. Like, I knew a cool network of people in Chicago prior to posting on TikTok because I've like worked a lot in different industries.
You're
like
cool in real life.
I'm cool in real life. Thank you. You know, like I feel like I've known people from doing, like I bartended like the first ever like Michelada Fest. Like I worked the first couple festivals.
Yeah.
And then now this past year they like invited me to go, you know, so it's like cool, but like I know a lot of these people and like and just Chicago and, you know, like whatever. But yeah, there's just been people where like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel like a lot of people brag, and that is not us.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to put others down to feel better about
that's
yourself.
really it. And it goes to that's where I kind of had that thought, like the comparison. Because, you know, like I'll compare myself, and I feel like those people are comparing themselves. Like, I have like 3,000 more followers than her, so like I'm cooler. And it's like,
or just people, like the way they phrase things, it comes off very like full of themselves. Yeah, I could give a few examples, but I don't want to like put anyone on the spot.
I know.
But just like humble yourself. Like, you might have over 10,000 followers on TikTok, but how many friends do you have in real life? That part.
Crickets.
That part.
No, and I think that's, and like, yeah, friends in real life, and just like, what type of person are you? Because if that's how you get your following, is from like being like braggy or like mean, or I don't know, super cloudy. Dude, clout is gonna be like the death of our generation.
And I feel
clout don't pay the bills, for one. And clout is not like real, you know what I mean?
It's
like
not real,
it just, like I just, that's where too I feel like, especially for me, like I always do things to my job too, where I'm like, you know, being a social worker and stuff, like I just always would never treat like some people that, or even the internet, you know, like I just wouldn't move about my, and I'm sure sometimes that is why maybe I probably could grow more if I did certain things a different way, but I'm always going to be authentic, and people know that, and like F with that. So I would rather have that.
And I feel like there are ways where you can not like boast about yourself, like, oh, I'm so proud of myself, I just got this brand deal, or like I even posted yesterday, like this really well-known hair care brand now sends me PR, which I'm so thankful for, and I posted that, like,
and it was like very nice,
very humble,
like tasteful, humble.
It wasn't like
braggy.
Oh my God, I get this, what are you guys getting?
Yeah, I think there's a way to move about content creating, and I think it's hard to like once you start and put stuff out there, it is hard to like take it away, you know, and it is hard to like, especially in a city like Chicago, if you are in Chicago, like it's a small, it's everyone, I mean it's big, but it's small, and like once you kind of, a couple videos or a couple interactions, events where you're like, I mean, for me, I'm not in the pattern of giving people I barely know like that many chances. Like, you know, I'll give you like 1 or 2 chances, but after like you do things a certain times, I'm like, okay, like I kind of write that person off. So I think you just have to like, you know, be mindful of like the spaces, because I know I've been that, like I've seen some people where I'm like, how they handled themselves or how they talk to other people, I didn't like that.
You have to be very observant, and like this goes back to other topics that we've talked about, like just be aware of how people carry themselves, and know like you are who you surround yourself with, and if that's how people are acting, like going to these events just because they know there's an open bar and getting shit-faced, like, oh gosh, I don't want to associate myself with people like that, because that's not who I am, and I don't want to give myself a bad name by being known to be their friend. So I would say, like, once you build up your following and you're starting to get invited to these events and such, like, people are always watching.
For sure.
You have to carry yourself with grace and humility. Like at one event I'm just referring to, like someone was getting blacked out because free drinks. Meanwhile, I'm over here networking with someone from a hospitality group that owns very nice restaurants in the city, and because I wasn't drunk and I could have a conversation, I made that connection and got a few different opportunities through that. So be aware of like who you surround yourself with, and then also how you carry yourself, because people let the clout of their followings get to their heads.
And don't be shady about any. I mean, even though it literally brings me back shady. But it brings me back to like kind of like literally ripping content from some, or like just like using people. Back to square one of people stealing my memes, without crediting me or liking them. But just going back, like again, Chicago is small. Yeah. You know, I will always be like, Gaby put me onto this, or I'm Gaby's +1 of this, or I invited you to this, and like, you know, don't ever try and pretend you're something you're not, or give credit where it's due. Like, thank the people around you and stuff, or put people on if they show you love, like show them love back, like stuff like that. But I think there definitely can be a balance of it, but for everyone it's different. Like like I said, I don't film every single friend dinner, but like some of them I do, or like I don't vlog every day, but like sometimes
we're selective.
Just start, and for everyone it's like different. I definitely don't think content creating is one size fits all. It's definitely not. It's like per the individual.
Post what you're comfortable with. Like Sophia and I were talking to our friends a few weeks ago, and they both have amazing sense of style, and they're very like fashionista. I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable posting your face, like just post clothes on a mannequin, some outfit ideas, like dip your toes in the water, because you'll never know like where that could take you or lead to.
Yeah, I mean, look, it led us to the podcast.
We have a whole podcast.
Do you even remember what the video is that you first saw of me, where you were like, that girl's funny?
No, but I did go back in our TikTok DMs, and you asked me for my phone number like exactly a year ago, I think.
Look what happens in a year.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. Well, so you should post content. This is your sign to post content, and that you can, if we can do it and we balance crazy lives, you can definitely do it.
And good luck on your content journey. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Episode 4.
Woo.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.